This short video will show you the correct procedure for using a pipette. Here you can see a volumetric or bulb pipette which allows you to accurately deliver a fixed volume of liquid. If we zoom in, you can see the calibration mark on the top section of the pipette, which is the point you should fill the pipette to. The pipette shown here will allow you to accurately deliver a 25 ml volume of liquid as indicated on the side of the bulb. Here you can see a pipette filler similar to the one you will use in the labs. As you gently roll this wheel with your thumb, you will draw liquid into the pipette. By depressing this button under the wheel, you can release liquid from the pipette. You should always check the top and bottom of the pipette to make sure the glass is not damaged or broken before you attach the filler. To attach the filler, you should hold the pipette near the top and use a slight twisting motion to insert gently into the mouth of the pipette filler. You can now rinse your pipette with distilled water by placing it in a beaker and drawing up a small amount of water as shown here. I have about half filled the pipette, as you can see here, and I'm going to rinse into a second beaker. I gently rotate the pipette to make sure I rinse all the sides of the pipette, making sure that I don't get liquid into the pipette filler which could damage it, before I empty the pipette into the waste beaker. Now that I've cleaned my glassware, I'm ready to pipette my actual solution. It's good practice to rinse the pipette with a small amount of the solution that it's going to contain. Here I'll depress the plunger and I can about half fill my pipette as I did before so that I can rinse it with the solution it's about to contain. Again, I gently rotate my pipette and I rinse it into my waste beaker. I've paused the video here just for a moment to remind you where the calibration mark is that you should be filling the pipette to. Notice here how I gently rotate the wheel with my thumb to draw the liquid into the pipette. I make sure the tip of my pipette is always below the surface of my solution to ensure no air is drawn up into the pipette. At this point my plunger has reached the top and I can't turn the wheel to continue filling. Notice how I press the button under the wheel which allows me to depress the plunger without emptying my pipette completely, and I can now continue filling my pipette to the calibration mark. I've paused the video and zoomed in at this point to show you how I've drawn the liquid about 2 centimeters above the calibration mark. I can depress the button on the filler and allow my solution to go down to the calibration mark. I've paused the video once again to show how the base of my liquid meniscus is just sitting on the calibration mark of my pipette. I can now empty my pipette into my conical flask by depressing the button under the wheel on my pipette filler. I've sped up my video slightly here just to empty my pipette. I've zoomed in the video here to show you a small amount of liquid still remaining in the bottom of the pipette tip. At this point you should tilt the conical as shown here, touch the tip onto the side of the glass and hold for 10 seconds to drain. A small drop will still remain in the tip, but this is allowed for in the calibration of the pipette, so don't ever force this last drop out. That's the end of this video. If you have any questions on pipetting, please ask in class.